Record.
Hello everyone, this is Zach, and I'm back with another video. So in this one, I want to first off give some updates on where the channel is headed, and I've got some news, and then we're going to talk about something fun in Logic. People that know me and people that have watched this channel for quite a while know that I love Logic. I've been using Logic for about 7 years, and over those 7 years, I've learned quite a lot. I really enjoyed my time with Logic. But as of late, some of the accessibility of Logic has kind of started not degrading, but kind of waning a little bit in terms of what they are doing. For pretty much a year now, we haven't really gotten any meaningful accessibility updates, and that kind of worries me. I'm not going to beat around the bush here. Um, Logic is very accessible. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say, oh, this program is horrible. It doesn't work at all. No, it absolutely does. And I commend the teams that have worked to make that happen. However, over the last year, there haven't really been any improvements. There are still huge areas of Logic that are not fully accessible, such as automation. Flex is pretty much useless for doing anything serious. You cannot access some of the synths that come with Logic in a meaningful way, like Alchemy. You are unable to design your own patches from scratch unless you are able to use some OCR to sort of get around that a little bit, and even then it's sort of hacky and not really pleasant. The drum machine designer is another area that needs some work. There are a few areas. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot, but those holes are glaring, and in a professional environment, you need to have access to, especially automation is the big one for me. That's a very big feature that really needs some work. So I have been doing some research over the last, I want to say, month or so into other options. And people that have been keeping up with my channel have seen that I started a series on Reaper. And Reaper is a very popular DAW in the blindness community because the accessibility support for Reaper is top notch. I honestly would call it the gold standard in terms of accessibility of a DAW. It is very well implemented. Everything is very easy to use. It's efficient, it's fast, and most importantly, it's fun. If a software is not fun to use, in my view, it is not something that should be utilized because at the end of the day, music is supposed to be fun. It's a creative activity, and while absolutely, people, get money from this, and this is what puts food on the table. If you're not having fun, then I think you're doing it for the wrong reasons. And music production software is definitely part of that. If it's a program that is not fun to work in and that is not pleasant to use for hours on end, then I don't want any part of that. Now, I'm not saying that Logic is horrible, that you shouldn't use it, that it's useless. I'm not saying that at all. But I have decided to sort of step back from Logic for a little bit and start looking more into Reaper and seeing how they are evolving and seeing what they are going to do. Now, that does not mean that I'm going to be giving up on you guys that use Logic. I'm not going to stop making Logic videos or anything like that. I'm going to keep that up, and today is a Logic video. But I want to put that out there because I'm also going to be simultaneously doing some Reaper tutorials and doing that on the side. And I want to introduce people to this DAW, and maybe some people will find that Logic does not suit them anymore and that Reaper might be a better option. And so I want to be there for you so that if you decide that Reaper is where you want to go and you're used to me and how I present things, then I have options for you that you can see my Reaper tutorials and my Logic tutorials. And in fact, over the coming days, I will be putting together a playlist that will be continuously updated when Reaper tutorials and Logic tutorials come out. So if you're only interested in my Logic content, you go to the Logic playlist. If you're interested in my Reaper stuff, you go to the Reaper playlist. It's that simple. So yeah, I just wanted to put that out there. I'm not giving up on Logic, and I'm still interested to see where it goes. I still have the program, and I'm not going to just stop using it. I'm going to keep using it, but I'm also at the same time going to be slowly sort of utilizing Reaper more and more, and I'm thinking that at some point that will probably become my primary DAW. Now, with that being said, I'm not saying that you should only use one DAW, and part of the reason I decided to look into this is because I think, and I've been reading, and other people have sort of concurred with me here, is that using multiple production programs is a very healthy thing to do because it keeps you sharp. And there are people that will disagree, and that's completely fine. But I think it makes a lot of sense. If you have experience in multiple DAWs, then if you ever end up working somewhere where they require that you use, say, Pro Tools, for example, that's a whole other topic, then you'll know how to use Pro Tools and you can use it. If they require that you use Reaper, which isn't many studios yet, hopefully that will change at some point, then you will know how to use Reaper and it won't really be that big of an issue. And also, even if it's a DAW that you don't know how to use, if you know multiple DAWs, unless the DAW is like completely crazy and weird and like non-standard, you'll at least know, oh, okay, so this is generally where, X, Y, or Z is, the tempo, the tracks, the regions, the clip, whatever else. And you're able to find things pretty quickly without needing to do a ton of digging and be confused for a while, thinking, oh, where is everything? So that's my reasoning here. I hope that people will understand this. Please let me know in the comments what you think. I want your opinions on this. Do you really hate Reaper and never want me to talk about it again? Well, I won't. I'll keep doing my Logic tutorials if that's really what people want. Because at the end of the day, I'm doing this for you. This isn't for me. I am here to help you, and I want to make sure that you guys are getting the content that you deserve. So please let me know in the comments. Please give me some feedback on this, and I will be looking at those and seeing and taking all of that stuff into account for future videos. So that's the one thing. Now, this segues really nicely into my next little update that I want to talk about here. So another DAW that is very popular, and I'm sure many people will have heard of this, is Ableton. Now, Ableton is probably one of the most popular DAWs right now in terms of doing anything electronic, doing anything with samples, loops. You can do that in all of their DAWs, but Ableton has a very nice workflow to take care of that. Although now with Logic, that's mitigated somewhat because Logic is kind of caught up to Ableton, and now Ableton is probably trying to figure out what the next big thing will be. But Ableton seems to still have some pretty unique features. So Ableton, historically, again, has not been accessible. But from what I understand, that is about to change pretty soon, hopefully. The team that develops Juice, which is that plugin framework that I talked about a few videos ago, I think. I talked about it in my Reaper video, I believe. And I think I mentioned it before. I'm going to be doing an in-depth video on a plugin that was actually developed with Juice in the coming months. I'm just waiting for it to be officially released before I make a video on it, just so that we have all the correct information. But I might do a preview video just to kind of show you. But I'll do that. I'll save that for another video. But Juice is the framework that companies can use to develop plugins. It's not the only framework, but it's one of the very popular ones. And they hold a conference every year called ADC, or I believe it's called the Audio Development Technology Conference, something like that. Audio Developers Conference, I believe. And this has a ton of different sessions. You can talk to people. It's great. I did not attend this year. I've never attended one of these, but I will look into it at some point for the future because it seems very interesting. And this year, they had a talk with some members of the Ableton team and a few other guys who helped to make Ableton accessible, or who are researching how accessibility could be implemented into Ableton. Now, unfortunately, this talk is not available to stream just yet. They usually post those videos a few weeks after the conference has ended, so we're just waiting on that. And then when that actually happens, I'm going to watch that and I'll give you some reactions. But this is something that is very exciting. And kind of projecting to 2022, I think we're about to see a very big shift in what we've kind of thought could be done in terms of accessibility to music software, because Juice is now usable. I'm sure at this point, now that they've set an example that this can be done, that this should be done, other companies will start following. And I think we need to sort of start getting prepared for the wave of accessible plugins that will be hopefully released very soon. Audio is one of these fields where historically we've kind of had very limited access, which is very ironic considering that we're the ones who would probably benefit the most from having access to these tools. And it really hasn't been until the last few years where we've seen kind of big changes with native instruments and with Arturia actually just announced their sort of version of this, which is their keyboard controller that now has accessibility as well. Hopefully that will be coming to their software too. It seems like it will be, but not just yet. I believe Arturia stuff is also based on Juice, so there's no excuse. They have to do it at some point. And there are other companies that are working to make their products usable. The synth that I'm going to be demoing over the next in the next few months when it's completely released, I'll give a preview in an upcoming video. But it's a synth called Surge, and it's a free and open source synthesizer for Mac, PC, and Linux. And it allows you to, it has many different synthesis modes. It's very deep. They're trying to basically set an example for what an accessible synth should look like. And this is very different to a lot of the stuff we've had access to before, like, say, in Logic's controls view, where you just have a ton of sliders, maybe some menus, but it's all kind of in a flat UI. Nothing is really grouped. Nothing is organized that well. You kind of have to keep going and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. This is very different. This is a proper application. It has proper grouping, so at least on the Mac, I have not tried it on Windows yet, but on the Mac, you're able to go through and look at all these groups and interact with them and look at the content inside, and you have pretty much all of the options that a sighted person would have, except for a few things that are going to be worked out very soon. It's still a work in progress, but it's very close to being complete. I'm extremely impressed with what I've seen so far. I've been experimenting with it over the past few days in Reaper, and I'm stunned, really, to say the least. This is huge. This is like a really big leap forward, and at this point, I'm not going to buy the excuse that accessibility is too hard, that we don't have the resources, that we don't have the time, because this plugin is open source and free. Anyone can go look at the code. Anyone can, presumably anyway, copy that code and put it into whatever software they need and modify it to fit their needs. So there is absolutely zero excuse anymore from these companies to say, oh, no, we can't do this. It's too much work. It's too much. Absolutely none in my book. This is going to set a really good example. Surge is not as popular as something like maybe Serum, which I believe is also based on Juice. Hopefully that will become accessible soon. But it's still, I think it's getting up there. People do know what it is. A lot of people think it is the best synth you can get, period, either free or paid. I saw a video that someone said that. So this is big. This is very big. There's another plugin that is now accessible with Juice called Pianotech. Pianotech is a virtual piano model that allows you to customize all the different aspects of your piano. You can change the string length, you can change the tuning, what condition it's in, all sorts of things. And there's different pianos, there's electric pianos, there's a lot of like harpsichords and pipe organ, or not pipe organs, they have a separate product for that. But there's harpsichords, there's bells, there's celestas, all sorts of things. And you're able to go in and customize that and make it fit your workflow. So that's another one that's really exciting that is, as far as I know, almost 100% accessible. I think there might be one or two areas that might not work so well. I'm not sure. They may have actually fixed that by now. It's been a few months since I've tried it, so. But a lot of this stuff is really exciting, and a lot of plugins are based on Juice, and I think other frameworks are probably going to follow at some point, because Juice actually is also open source. So presumably these other companies could kind of see what they're doing and sort of emulate that. But please watch this space. I will be doing a lot of videos over the coming weeks about this, especially when I get on vacation. I'm going to have a lot more time for this channel and to dedicate to it, so look for a lot of videos coming very soon. So that was a lot, but really exciting, all good things. Now all we need is a big Logic update where they kind of address all that stuff and fix some of these issues, and we will be golden. But until that day comes, we're going to keep marching forward. So now, onto the demo. I have a Logic project open here, but I'm going to actually make a new one. So
Find Logic Pro.
Here,
Logic Pro.
and I'm going to make a new project.
Don't cancel. Don't close.
Let's close this one.
Don't save. Can't don't save. Don't.
Let's not save it.
Now in.
All right, cool.
Choose.
Make a new project.
In new. Choose.
And I'm
choose
just
a
going to use the
music
we had before. And this is the quick sampler that I was using in that last demo where we were messing around with that. So let me hide the musical typing keyboard. Cool. Now, to get this to work properly, you can do one of two things. You can remap your keyboard so that these keys don't conflict with voiceover keys, because currently the keys to do slip editing are Control Option left and right arrow as default, or and this is probably the easier option. So I'll do this for today. I will do another video about the key commands window. But today, we're going to go into the Voiceover Utility. So remember to do that. It's Control Option Function F8.
Opening Voiceover Utility. Voiceover Utility.
Okay. I'm going to go down. Actually, no, I don't need to go anywhere. I'm just going to go to the right.
Speak the following. Welcome. Display. Keys to Control Option or Caps Lock. Keys to use as the voiceover modifier.
That's what we want. I'm going to change this to Caps Lock.
Menu. Checkmark. Caps Lock. Caps Lock.
There.
Caps Lock. Keys to.
Cool. Now I'm going to press Command Q.
Logic Pro.
Perfect. Now nothing is conflicting. We're all set to go. Let's do it. Alrighty. So, to start, we need a loop, right? So I'm going to go into the Logic Loop browser, and we're just going to find like a breakbeat.
Show loops table. No selection.
Cool. So let's see. Oh, it's being very slow. Oh, I forgot. I have my caps lock key now. So I was trying to use Control Option to move, and I can't do that anymore. So I'm going to use my caps lock key.
Preview.
There we go.
13,000.
All right, let's go to the left.
Fave. X. Loop types. All packs. Pop-up button.
Cool. I'm going to go in here.
Choose menu 45.
And I'm going to go to, wow, there's a lot of options now. When Logic 10.7 came out, they added a ton of packs. There's like nearly 50 packs in total. That's pretty crazy. I'm going to go to Vintage Breaks with V.
Vintage Breaks.
Press return.
Choose which.
And we're going to go to the right.
X. More. Preview. Loops. Table. Name. Basic vintage.
And I'm just going to find one that's cool. Let's go down.
Quick nav on.
I'm just going to press the down arrow.
Big room. Big.
Let's see. Okay, cool.
Beats. 32.
Wow, this one's long. We'll trim it down. So let's copy this. I'm going to press Command C, go to the beginning,
1 bar.
paste. There we go.
1 bar. 1 beat.
Alrighty.
1.
Cool, we got it in there. Nice.
Tracks.
So let's go. Let's hide the loop browser.
Tracks. Out. Track.
And I'm not going to
Tracks.
go into
Tracks. Header.
that
Group.
track.
2. Bongo clap. Tracks. Time.
Into the region.
Track 2. Bongo.
And just for simplicity,
1.
I'm going to split this out to 4 bars.
5. 5.
I'm going to press Command T.
Split region.
To split.
Bongo.
And just delete that. Okay.
Bongo.
So we have a 4-bar loop here. Cool. Now, I'm going to actually repeat this once with Command R, because now we're going to need to cut this up, and I don't want to mess up the loop entirely in case I want to do another variation at the end. We'll make like an 8-bar sort of variation on this. So to start with, we need to set our grid. And to do that, now that we have the voiceover keys with caps lock, you can press Control Option and then either one of these keys. D for division, so that would be like 1/8 notes or 1/16 notes, depending on what that's set to. To set that, there are a few ways to do this. In Reaper, this is much easier, but in Logic, you have to either go up to the control bar and go in there, and then you have to select an option, and we'll do it this way just for simplicity's sake for today. Or you can assign some key commands to do this, but you don't get any speech feedback. So you have to kind of keep in your head how Logic counts their grid. Okay, so just for simplicity, we'll do it the first method in a second. But let me just keep going over these keys. So D is for division, B is for beat, M is for bar or measure, and T is for tick. And a tick in Logic is basically just a very small section of sound. I think it comes from MIDI. I'm not 100% sure. And I also don't know what the resolution of that would be. But you would not normally need to use ticks unless you're doing like really, really fine editing. And there are some other ones too. I think like S is for sample or second or something. You can go into the edit menu. Here, I'll do it for you. Go to the edit menu here.
Logic Pro. Now, set nudge value to...
Whoops. Oh, I totally forgot. So I actually just set it to measure. And when I did that, I keep pressing Control Option out of habit. I set it to measure. And when I did that, what happened was it showed up a notification that said, oh, your thing is set to measure. So it will tell you that.
Logic Pro. Now, set nudge value to beat. Logic Pro. Now, set nudge value to division. Logic Pro. Now, set nudge value to sample.
So S is sample. S is like really fine detail. You would not normally need to do that unless you're doing like some weird like audio restoration work or something like that.
Logic Pro. Now, set nudge value to division.
So I'm going to keep it at division because we're going to use that in a second. But let's go into this menu.
Menu bar. Edit.
I'll just show you where this is. So I'm going to go to edit, go down.
Copy, select, show, repeat, length, split, bounce and join, move, trim, submenu, convert, time stretch, move, delete MIDI effect, separate, cut slash, tempo, open in it,
Actually, it might be in move.
Convert, trim, move, to beat, first track, to focus, shuffle left on, shuffle, nudge left on, slip left control, rotate left command, set nudge value to, submenu.
Yeah, set nudge value to, go in here.
Set nudge value to, submenu 26 items bar, control option M.
See, we have a lot of options. So if I go down this list.
B control, check mark, 10 ticks, tick control, step input, 1/1 note.
A lot of stuff. So now you have note value. So you could actually just go into this menu if you wanted to not worry about the grid.
1/2 note, 1/4 note, 1/8 note, 1/16 note.
You can change this here.
1/8 triplet, 1/12, 1/2 frame control option F.
I think this is what it's for.
5 frames, 1/2 frame control, SMPTE bit, 10 millisecond, 1 millisecond, sample control option, sample control.
Samples. So let's actually set this here.
1/32 note.
In here, this actually is
1/2 note.
Might be easier. So I'll set it over
1/8 note.
To, let's see, let me think here. Let's do eighth notes.
1 Logic Pro. Now, set nudge value to 1/8 note. 1/8 note.
Cool. So now
region
it's
starts
eighth notes. So what's going to happen is when I move this or slip it, it's going to move by eighth notes, which is great. So now we have to actually split this up. So, whoops, and I actually just split it, or slipped it rather. So let me undo that.
Undo. Cool. Track 2, track 1, track bongo.
Cool. So we're still on here.
1.
Okay. So now we need to actually we still need to figure out how we would go about moving this by the grid because there are no key commands to do that currently. So the best way to do this would be to actually set up some key commands. So you know what? I'm actually just going to show you this now. I was going to do this in another video, but I figure since people are starting with this and probably don't have this set up, it might make sense to just show you. So let's do that. I'm going to press Option K and I'm going to open up the key commands window.
Key commands, US window.
Okay, so I'm going to go to the right.
Table, no selection.
And I'm going to go to the left.
Search key command, search text field.
Find search key command. So I'm going to type grid.
D.
And go to the right.
Keyboard. Table. Open core grid library.
I just opened this table. I'm going to go down now.
Global command. Toggle use music. Main window track. Toggle snap to views showing time. Show / hide background. Main window. Show / switch between live loops. Show live loops. Show live. Toggle score editor. Settings.
So actually, it's not even here.
Out of conflict. Grid.
So actually, let's type div for division.
V.
I'm going to go
table.
Right here.
Forward by division value star.
Yeah,
black.
Here we go. So forward
Are only available as key command.
Yeah. So forward by division value and
rewind by division.
Rewind by division value is what we want. So actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to set these to just be shift period and shift comma. Now normally that will move like 10 bars at a time, or 8 bars at a time. But for this, I'm just gonna for simplicity, let's use those. So I'm gonna rewrite this. So
out of keyboard.
I'm on rewind.
Edit tag. Learn by key label. Toggle button.
Learn by key label.
So table. Rewind by division value stop. Cancel. But keyboard short.
Oh, it's assigned to something. So I'm just gonna replace it.
Replace. Now keyboard table.
There we go. And I'm
row
gonna
30.
Do the same thing with
row 30. Forward by division value star.
So shift period.
Cancel.
Hit
Replace. Keyboard. Now in.
And I'm going to now
Key. Shift. Edit. Learn by key label. Selected. Toggle button.
turn this off.
Table.
And actually, that's
Forward
okay. That's one
forward
thing.
Whoops. Row 30. No row select. Zoom.
It's shattering at me. That's part of the problem with this window is sometimes they just shatter quite a lot in this table here because it's updating things. What I was trying to say is that's one thing they fixed is before when you press that button, it just acted as a button. It wouldn't tell you if it was turned on or not. So now it does, which is great. So you know if it's selected. That's a toggle switch, so you don't need to go in and turn it on every time. So let's close this.
Now in Untitled.
All right, cool. So now we've got everything set up, hopefully. Let's hope that this works. So now I have my move value set to division, set to eighth notes. But I have my grid set to 16th notes. So what's cool now is we can go in and I can move the grid by 16th notes, but slip this stuff by eighth notes. So when I'm doing my splits, I have more regions.
Bongo Classic.
What I'm gonna do?
Bongo Classic. Bongo.
So we have two here actually. Why?
One.
Let's see.
4 beats.
Oh,
One,
that's right. Because we
2 caps lock.
We duplicated that other one. So what I'm gonna do now? I'm gonna press. I'm
One.
gonna go to the beginning, and I'm gonna press Shift period.
1 bar 1 beat 2 divisions 1 tick.
And if I hit play from here,
One.
now you hear kind of that reverb. So what I'm actually gonna do? I'm gonna move this by eighth notes.
1 bar 1 beat 3.
And I'm just pressing Shift period twice.
1 bar 1 beat 1.
So I'm going to move this by eighth notes. I could set my grid to eighth notes, but honestly, instead of doing that because it's kind of a painful process in Logic, it's just easier to do some simple math and calculate that if you press Shift period twice, it will essentially accomplish the same thing. So I'm just going to do that.
1 bar 1 beat 3.
I'm pressing Command T to split.
Split.
I'm going to do it again.
1 bar 2 beats 1 division. Split region. 1 bar 2 beats 3. Split regions. 1 bar 3 beats 1. Split regions. 1 bar 3 beats 3. Split regions of. 1 bar 4 beats 1. Split regions of. 1 bar 4 beats 3. Split regions. 2 bars 1 beat 1. Split.
So I have a 1 bar region that is split into 8 chunks here. So I'm going to go to the beginning.
Bongo class. Bongo.
And if I press Option space, it will play this eighth note over and over.
1 bar 1 beat 1.
There.
2 bars 1 beat 2.
Perfect cut. So now I'm gonna go to the snare.
Bong.
Whoops, I just selected it.
1 bar.
There we go. I was trying to press Shift with space, so I selected it by accident, but I press Shift with space and that plays it.
1 bar 1.
So we have the snare now. Now because we have our grid set to eighth notes, if I press Control Option right arrow, it will move it.
1
If
bar.
I go back to the beginning and play,
1 bar
now,
1.
you heard that kick. That kick was playing instead. And the reason for that is what's happening is it's not actually moving the region at all. It's just moving what audio is being played in that region. So you don't have to worry about anything going out of time. You can basically do this randomly. I'm just going to move this a bit to the left now. So I have a different snare now. I'm going to go even more.
1 bar.
Yeah, that's a cool groove. So let's go to the left one.
Bong. 1 bar.
This kick, and I'm going to move that there. I'm moving it to the right. There we go. So we've got kind of a cool groove now. We sort of changed it. And also, it's important to note, I'm not sure why it is this way. I have a feeling it's something to do with visuals. But pressing Control Option left arrow when you are on a region that's near the beginning of the timeline will actually move your slip right. So it moves it forward in the file, not back. Pressing Control Option right arrow will move it back. If this is annoying and kind of confusing, you can reverse these in the key commands window, but it's not too difficult to figure out. But again, you totally have the options to do that, and I just showed that process. So you would just type slip, and it's right there. So let's keep going. Let's do some more slip editing here. I'm gonna go to the right.
1 bar. 1 bar.
Let's take this kick, and I'm gonna move this here. So let's listen to it now. Nice. So we got something kind of cool going on here. So it's like one bar of sort of a bit mangled, and then another bar is just straight. So let's do a little more.
Bongo. 1.
Nice. So we got kind of a cool groove. You might want to do some crossfading just because we're hearing some clicks now. So I'm going to actually do that by selecting all the regions. You can do this a number of ways, but I'm going to go to the first one
Bongo.
and press, I believe it's Control Option F. I believe that will select all of them. I'm going to press Control Option X, and that will crossfade.
1.
I
1.
believe that worked.
Edit menu, undo, apply default crossfade.
Let's just make sure. Yeah, I believe it did. If I go down, we can make sure that
paste
key command worked.
Delete, copy region, select, sub, all
here.
following Shift F.
Oh, it's Shift F. Okay, so I'm going to actually do that again. So let me do Shift F.
All follow.
Pressing return here, and I'm going to press Control Option X. There we go.
1.
Nice.
1.
So everything's smoothed out a little bit. It sounds nice. So that's slip editing in a nutshell. Now, there are some other commands we can use. There's another one called rotate. Now, I'm not 100% sure what this is supposed to do. I have to kind of read up on the documentation, but we can certainly try it. I'm going to go
bongo
to one of these.
1 bar 1.
This guy, and you just add command. So Control Option Command left and right. So let's move this one left, and it's rotating.
1.
Let's try it again.
1.
So
1 bar.
This would actually be doing anything. Let's rotate it right.
1. 1
so
bar 1.
I'm not totally sure.
1 bar.
Yeah, I'm trying it here. It's not really seeming to be
1
doing anything. So I'm not really sure what this is supposed to do. It might be only for MIDI, but as you can see, this definitely works. So let's keep going with this because we have the concept down now. Let's make sort of a little beat with this. Let's see what we can do. So let me go to the second bar.
Bong 1 bar,
and
2 bars.
Again,
1
in Reaper,
bongo
it's
classic.
easier because when you are navigating regions, it automatically moves your playhead. I don't have to keep hitting Shift Space to figure out where everything is.
1 bar.
There
2
we
bars.
Go. So let's do our same cutting deal.
2 bars.
Here.
1 beat.
So
1.
I'm on bar 1 or bar 2 rather, beat 1. So let's move by grid to the right here.
2 bars. 1 beat 2 division. 2 bars. 1 beat 3 division.
Same deal.
Split regions. 2 bars. 2 beats. 1 split region. 2 bars. 2 beats. Split. 2 bars. 3 beats. Split. 2 bars. 3 beats. Split. 2 bars. 4 beats. 1 split. 2 bars. 4 beats. 3 divisions. 1 tick. Split regions. Events at play.
Cool. And actually for this one,
2 bars. 4.
I'm gonna make one more cut.
Split region.
At the next 16th there, so we can do a little fill. So let's do our same deal with slip editing these. I'm just gonna do some randomly here.
Bongo.
I'm not even looking at what I'm doing. I'm just gonna
bongo.
Mess around, and that's the fun of it, right?
Bongo.
And while I'm doing this, it's worth noting in Reaper, I'm gonna do a similar video because this concept it also exists in Reaper.
Bongo.
Logic was quite late to the party with this. They only, and I actually just messed up my next loop, so let me actually just delete that. Get rid of it. There we go.
Bongo. Bongo. Bongo.
Do this. Logic was quite late to the party. DAWs like Pro Tools have had this for years. I believe Ableton has had this. I know Studio One has this. So I don't know why it took them so long to add this feature, but it's great that it's here now.
1.
So let's go to the beginning and listen to this. Cool.
5.
So I think I actually may have inadvertently slipped one of these other ones and moved it around, but it sounds pretty awesome, actually. I kind of like it. So the first bar is kind of all over the place, then the second bar is sort of okay.
1.
So we could, if we really wanted, if I knew where those started and ended, I could select those and kind of swap them. But again, in Logic, doing any kind of detailed editing like that is kind of annoying, so I'm going to spare you. But if I really wanted, I could do that. So let's keep this in here. Nice.
1.
Nice. So we got something kind of cool going on. So let's now, I'm going to bounce this in place.
Out tracks, toolbar, track 2, Bongo Classic.
Because I find sometimes in Logic joining regions is a little annoying. So let's just bounce this track in place here.
In dialog, Bongo Classic break test, new track, selected track, radio but, okay, default
okay.
but,
Cool.
track 3,
I'm
Bongo,
just
track,
get rid of this other old one.
delete track 2,
hopefully now
1,
when we loop it, it will loop seamlessly. Yep.
1 bar,
Awesome. So there you go. That's slip editing. We could add maybe one more little deal to this.
tracks,
Let's go in here and I'll
show high,
add a
more, loops, name, type,
topper.
clay funk break,
Let's see.
crispy vintage,
We'll make a
crowded
little
break,
beat out of this, huh?
DNB,
Let's see.
double dutch,
Let me grab a topping, like a topper loop here.
riding high break,
Let's see.
roomy snare break,
What do we got?
simple steady break, snare drum fill 03, snare hall disco break, soundtrack break, Squeaky funk break, steady beat break, steady rocking break, sticky funk break, sticky hi-hat, straight disc, sticky hi-hat topper.
Nice. Let's copy this.
1.
Put it in at bar 5.
5.
Paste. There we go.
Loop on. 1.
There.
Nine
Nice.
bars. 1.
So again, there's some clicks just because I don't think we crossfaded everything, or maybe it just didn't crossfade for long enough. But again, we would go back and fix this. I'm just doing a quick demo here. Let's go into one of the new packs that's in Logic 10.7 and just add a few more things.
Out of loops. Vintage break. Menu 40. Mark Lettieri.
This is from a guy called Mark Lettieri. I don't know. I think it's Lettieri. And he is the guitarist for Snorky Puppy, actually.
Closing menu.
Which is a band here.
2.
And
Preview.
he made a pack
More.
with lots of loops for people that use GarageBand and Logic. So
Loops. Search. Loops. Name. Always to mark.
it's quite nice. Let's try and find something. Let's see.
Oh.
All these are kind of something funky.
Carry away.
Yeah, this could work. Let's put this in.
1.
Put this guy in here.
Loop on.
Let's try and find some kind of bass thing that he may have done.
Carried away. Chorus lead. Carried. Oh.
Let's see.
Carried away.
Let's see. Do we have like
Carried away. Verse chords 01. Carried.
Yeah, this could work. Let's try that.
1.
Paste that in there.
Loop on.
I'm gonna go into
21 rows selected.
Whoops! I just selected everything. I'm gonna go
Inspect.
into the
Apple loop. Tracks.
tracks area here.
Track 5. Carried away.
We'll do a little mix.
Track 4. Carried away. Chorus rhythm. In horizontal. 0 pat. 30 of.
It's like 30.
Track 30
And
out of.
a chord thing to the right.
1.
And let's see here.
9 bar.
All right, cool. Very sort of weird and interesting, funky little deal. But yeah, mainly this was just meant to show you guys slip editing. Hopefully this was useful. Hopefully you got something out of it. It's really fun, especially when you start getting into doing stuff melodically, doing like that. This guitar actually.
Out of track 4. Carried.
This guy.
Toggle. 4 beats.
This actually might be a good example. Let's just do one more here.
Tracks.
I can't resist. That's too fun. So let's go
Track.
to our
Track 4.
track here.
Carried away.
All right, cool.
1.
So what I'll do, same kind of deal. I'm not gonna. Let me unloop this first.
Loop off.
Otherwise, it will get really messy. And let's go in, and I'll just
1 bar.
split this guy
Split.
up here.
1 bar. 2 beat. Split.
Sighted people are able to do this with the mouse. In Reaper, I believe there might be an action to just have the program automatically do this.
1 bar. 2 beats.
But here in Logic,
Split. 1 bar. 3 beats.
I'm gonna do this manually,
Split. 1 bar. 3 beats.
which is all right.
1 bar. 4.
All right, one more.
1 bar. Split.
For short files like this, it's really not a problem, but for long things, it can be quite annoying.
Carried.
Let me just see here.
1 bar. 1.
There's another bar actually.
2 bars. 1 beat. 2 divi.
Okay.
2 bar. 2 bars. 1.
I'll split it here as well.
Carried away.
Okay, cool. So the first. Okay, let me just see how long this section is. Okay, so I think I may have. Oh, let's see. There we go. Where are we? I'm confused.
Region starts at 1 bar. 4 beats. 3 divisions. 1.
Okay, I didn't actually split it
Loop on.
where I wanted
Loop.
to here.
4 bars. 1 beat.
Let me see here.
1 bar. 4.
This is the problem with Logic
3 bar.
as well, is because
Two-
the playhead doesn't move when you're moving through these, and I have to keep hitting Shift Space. And also, too, by default, it does not, when you press space, it does not return to where you started. So I kind of have to keep track in my head, oh, this is like where...
1 bar. 4 beats. 3 divisions. 1 tick.
So for some reason, this didn't split. So let me see here.
1 bar. 4 beats. 3 divisions. 1 tick.
Okay, so we're still...
3 bars. 1.
Okay, so I want to
2 bars. 1.
put that at bar 2.
Split. Regions. Carried away. Carried away.
If I can, there we go.
1 bar.
All right, so I think...
2 bars. 1 beat. 1 division. 1 tick.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, so let's go to the beginning, and I'll try and sort of slip this a little bit. Let's just go here. I'll just do some splitting here. This might completely mess up the melody, but again, we can also transpose these. I'll show you that too.
Carried.
That's quite fun. All right, let's see.
1.
Okay, that actually worked. Maybe not that part.
1. 2.
Let's see here.
Carried a 1 bar. 2 bar.
Okay, so this part, let's move this guy.
1.
Yeah.
1 bar 1 beat.
I kind of don't like that sort of a
Carried 1.
this guy. So let me actually move this a bit.
1.
Let's move that a little more.
1. 1.
A little bit more.
1.
Actually, let's move that back, and I'll move
1. 2.
this guy over because I don't really want that note in there.
1. 2. 1 bar 1 beat 1 2.
Let's see here.
2.
That one's not moving. Let's move it back.
1. 3.
Okay, so this kind of works. I think actually it might just be because we
Carried away 1.
oh, it's I know why. It's because we are trying to split that 1 bar region here that we copied. So let me actually just get rid of that here. So we're just gonna have a 1 bar loop.
Metronome.
Yeah,
1.
cool. That actually works. So let me bounce this in place.
Out of tracks. Tracks time ruler. Tracks header. Track 5. Track 4. 4 beat 1.
And that's the thing with this kind of stuff is
In
it's
dialogue.
really about trial and
Bounce
error,
region.
and you're kind of seeing that here. That it's not really I'm just bouncing this here. It's not really
Logic code.
sort of something you can plan out unless you can sort of visualize it in your head. You kind
Tracks.
of have to mess around and experiment. And this kind of technique really lends itself well to that because you're able to go in and say, oh, let's try, let's just see what happens if I kind of move things around. And you can see I didn't play that when I was moving it, and I came up with something kind of cool. I went in later and finessed it a little bit, but the general process for this kind of stuff, at least for me, is just let's go in, mess around, try and find something, and if it sounds good, it is good. That's, at the end of the day. So
Tracks.
let's go in here.
Track.
And,
Track 5. In track.
let me
Out of
solo
track 4.
this.
Carried away 1. 2.
All right, so let me find. Oh, let me
Top.
solo the wrong one.
Track 3. Sticky.
This guy.
Track 5. Carried away verse rhythm group. Track.
Let's see. Is it the same one?
Track.
Yeah.
4 beats 4.
Yeah. It's, okay. Cool. So let me make sure that loops.
Loop on. 2 bar. Loop on.
It does not loop. Why?
1.
I may have actually bounced the wrong track.
Track
So
5.
let me bounce it again.
In dialogue. Carried away chorus rhythm 01 underscore bit. Destination.
Let's see.
Name. New track. Selected.
That's
OK.
fine. Let's
Default
press
button.
OK here.
Track.
Sure,
Tracks.
let's see if it
Track.
works.
Horse. Out. Track 5. Track 6. Carried away.
Okay. it
Track
works
6.
this time.
4 beats.
All right. So now this one is.
Track 4. Carried away chorus. 1.
Yeah.
What?
There he is. Okay.
Track 5.
This guy.
Loop on.
Let's make sure it
Top.
loops. Yeah, it
What?
does. Cool. Now, again, there's some clicks just because we forgot to fade, but
Toggle.
just for a demo, it's totally fun. So let's listen to it.
1. Metronome up.
I feel like that actually works better with the guitar.
9. 1.
Cool. So as you can see, this process, if you can get it set up correctly, is very easy. I will say again, and I know I keep bringing up Reaper, but this is important because workflow is everything. And if you don't have a good workflow, then that's a problem. In Reaper, this does not really require any setup. Everything is configured sensibly out of the box. You can do this exact same stuff that I just showed you really easily in Reaper. You have very easy access to the grid. You can move by the grid really easily. Everything is already set up. In Logic, if you want to do this from the keyboard, you have to do some customization and get things working. But if you do that once, then you're good. After that, you're all set. It's a little annoying, but this is just how Apple designed their stuff. It's completely understandable, and it works. And even in Reaper, some of this stuff is not set up by default. It comes when you install the Osara extension. But part of that too is the Osara extension has all those custom stuff, custom actions built in already. So they've done all the work for you. So in a way, the two are really no better or worse than each other. I think it's just that Logic doesn't have a similar extension because Apple is trying to build everything in from the get-go, which is awesome. That's commendable, and I think that's how it should be. But sometimes blend people really know best when it comes to workflow, and I think this is a clear case of that. So I will do a similar video in Reaper down the line once we get a little more familiar with that interface. I'm going to do another video on editing in Reaper in the coming days. Look for that in a few days. But I hope this was helpful. There will be more Logic videos very soon. I think we'll maybe kind of alternate. And over the coming weeks, I'll do some demos of a few Juice plugins that I have. And yeah, that's about it. So with that, I'm going to end this session here. I'm in Zoom again. So that's
Zoom.us.
fun. I
Zoom.
think I might be the only YouTuber to use Zoom as a video editor. So, or sorry, not a video editor, but a video recorder type of deal. So that's quite fun. Anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I really enjoyed this. Please, again, let me know what you want to see. Let me know what you like, what you don't like, anything I can improve on. Please let me know. And I really look forward to seeing you very soon with another fun video. All right, bye-bye.